And we're back. And we're back. But basically, we did have some technical difficulty, but I'm on and popping now. But let me tell you this. So basically, what Grace was saying is that she has friends in law enforcement, and basically she's discussed this with them about this predatory policing. And basically, you and I seen it. They wait up at the gas stations. I have clients that say, I just was running in there to get a pop. I was getting a juice or something. Here come the police walking up on me saying that I smell like weed. Then the first thing they want to say, you got a gun on you? That's what they're looking for. And so the fact of the matter is, as well, he was walking like, something was weighing him down. And based on my police experience, I thought he had something. It's not even coming out like that. I've had situations where people have been in a car, a person who was a CPL holder and a person that was not a CPL holder. And the person that is a CPL holder say, it's my gun, and they charge both of them. And the basis of the stop may be, well, it's late out here. Well, do you live around here? No, I live in Southfield. Why are you here? Let me see your ID. Then they getting close in the car and they smell weed. Oh, is it a gun in this car? Those are called pretext stops. Why? The reason that you're stopping the person has nothing to do with an investigation, a legitimate investigation. You making up stuff. Why you doing things? It's not legitimate. And as a result of these pretext investigations, and they find out that a person has a gun, etc., they're using that to arrest people and to say, well, we're taking guns off the street, so what we're really doing a benefit to the community, when in reality, you shaking somebody down, you making up reasons in order to search them. You know you're going to find a gun, or at least you think you're going to find a gun, and you messing up somebody's life because you want to get a couple dollars in overtime. That is not right. That is not right. Now, but we see it all the time. They just sit back in the car wash and they just watch somebody. Oh, you smell like weed. Or maybe a person getting out of vehicle, maybe they are smoking weed. Oh, you smoking weed? Oh, okay, yeah. Well, where you live at? Where was your destination? What they got to do with you? And then they feel, well, let me talk to them. You got a gun on you? They don't want to lie to them. They say, yeah. Then they say, well, we came upon a suspect and they were looking suspicious. And as a result of them looking suspicious, we did an investigation and found a gun. No, you didn't. You shook them down. Now, let me tell you something. I'm all for having a safe community, but I'm not for lying on people and making up things as to reasons why you ought to, so somebody can take a gun off the street. That's not that's not law enforcement. That's being in Russia. That's tyranny. That ain't what police supposed to do. Good policing ain't got to set nobody up. Good policing is about being able to respond to calls and do what they're supposed to do. But it ain't about trying to set somebody up so that you can get somebody off the street and get paid and not a couple dollars, but a significant amount of money in your overtime so you can buy a boat or a car. That's not what it's for. And what we're doing is seeing officers being rewarded for this. And so now, opposed to them investigating murders and robberies and different things like that, what they doing? They out there trying to get guns off the street, so what they can do so they can get them some overtime and making up reasons. I understand legitimately if you you see somebody drop a gun or do something that's inappropriate. I understand that, but just making up reasons to try to shake somebody down, that's not what the law is designed for. And that is why you have to be able to have a good lawyer so that lawyer can say there's no basis for this. You can't just come up to somebody and say, man, I smell like weed. Okay. Where you going? Why? What business is that of yours? Then if they say, well, I don't want to say anything to you, exercising their constitutional right not to say nothing, then they're going to say, oh, resisting and obstructing. I thought I saw the butt of the gun. Yeah, when you all in his personal space, you all up on somebody when you don't need to be on there because you trying to find a gun. And or you see a car driving down the street, you smell some weed, you pull them over, and you got the flashlight all in the car looking for a gun. They ain't looking for nothing but a gun. Because if they get a gun, one gun on a car with 5 people, that means that's 5 court hearings that they get to go to, which means that that's overtime for them. And it's almost becoming a racket. And it's wrong. And you have to be able to have people who are trained lawyers who understand these bases. I'll give you a prime example. One of the lawyers that affiliates with my firm, we recently had somebody that was facing a mandatory 5 years in prison, felony firearms second, mandatory. He was driving a car with tinted windows. Police come up, shake him down, talk about the tinted windows, said that the tint was too dark. Got in the car, asked him for his license, had valid license, insurance, told him to get out, found a gun. Mandatory 5 years. My lawyer was able to say that because the car was registered from out of state, there's case law that says that if you're in a car and it has an out-of-state license plate, then the requirements of the tinted window law does not apply, and therefore it was an illegal search and seizure. But many times when you're dealing with people who, fast-paced court-appointed lawyers, they don't have the experience, or maybe they don't have the wherewithal to know about all these cases. And as a result, many times those people end up going to prison. Why? Because your lawyer doesn't have the experience or the knowledge to know that. I'm giving you free game. So if somebody is riding around in a rental car and they got tint on their window and they got their license and their registration, and the police stop and say that the tint was too dark on the window and they find a gun in there, there is a legitimate defense for the search and seizure, in my opinion, not looking at all the facts, but based on that, to be able to say, listen, there's case law that says that if it is an out-of-state car with license plate, those laws don't apply. But you could get somebody who don't know that, a new lawyer who may not have the level of skill that they need or the experience that they have, and then what? You end up going to prison for 5 years. So unfortunately, that particular client did pay money, but guess what? It prevented them from going to prison because the judge, in fact, read the law and threw the case out. But you have to be knowledgeable about the law. Let me tell you something. The people perish from lack of knowledge. If you don't know the law, and the law is made so challenging that lay people don't know. Lay people don't understand that, just because you had a felony 10 years ago for carrying a concealed weapon, that it automatically fall off your record. They don't know that. It doesn't. People who don't know that if you are in a car with someone and you had a felony conviction from 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 years ago, you can't be around a CPL holder. Because you could be potentially, they could say that you were in possession, not that you're actually holding the gun, but that you have the right to. And as a result, you can go to prison for a mandatory 2 years of what we call felony firearm. There's so many nuances in the law. And Grace, our last caller, was saying that she knows police officers that hang out at gas stations just so that they can be able to arrest some people and get court time. And that court time adds up. If you, I think they get paid regular time, and then their court time is almost double, which is almost $40 an hour, and you on Zoom and you arresting 10 people a week, that's a couple $1,000. And it's becoming a racket. Everybody wants to be in a safe community. We've been talking about having the metal detectors in the school. But damn, at the same time, don't nobody want to feel that they being harassed by police, that they looking for a lick. And that's what it's like. The police out here looking for a lick so they can arrest somebody on a basis of a pretext so that they can get them charged and go to court. Then they know, well, you know what? They don't care if they get a conviction or not. They want that overtime. And many times people think, well, because, I can't afford a lawyer, which many times people can't because, for something like this, it may be between $5,000 and $7,000 at the low end, $10,000. But at the same time, you also put yourself in a situation where if you get probation and later on you could just be, like I said, in a car with your uncle that got a CPL, and you don't even think nothing about it, boom, you can't even go to a gun range without your rights being reinstated. So there's so many nuances. And what it is that the police are preying upon that, especially with the open carry. Most people don't understand about the open carry. Well, what do we know about the open carry? Well, it's simple. It has to be complete visibility. That means that you got to see all of the gun. All of the gun has to be visible. So if you put your gun in your holster and you put a jacket on, say it's because it's cold right now, that is called carrying a concealed weapon, and that's a felony. You cannot have concealment. So in the summertime, you put your shirt, tuck your shirt down, you have your weapon on you, and you can walk around. But now people who want to say, well, I'm open carrying, if you put a jacket on, even if you can see the gun slightly, okay, just slightly, but you got a coat on, that is going to get you for carrying a concealed weapon, and it's a felony, and you can go to prison for up to 5 years. Why? Because you don't know the law. Okay, so we'll be back. I'm giving y'all some free legal today, and we'll be back with Vondas Court Unfiltered. And thank you so much, Grace, for calling in with your perspective.